Good day, everybody, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Testing. Lovely to be here, and thanks for joining. Just checking my notes. This is episode number 43. Again, fascinated by the fact that we're getting close to episode number 50. It's absolutely incredible. So, very much appreciate folks who keep coming back to tune in every Friday, and also to our new listeners. Welcome. If this is your first time, um, yeah, we just catch up every week. I do a little bit of a debrief about the week in testing. We do lots of research and observations here at Ministry of Testing. So I'll play some of that back to you as the community, and then I'll invite you up on stage to have a chit chat. So have a think about, how your week in testing has been. Who have you been speaking with? What things have you been doing with your team? What things have you also observed in the community that you'd like to share and celebrate? And we go from there. So, just a few little things as a reminder. So, while the event isn't recorded via LinkedIn, we do actually have Deanna and Graham joining us from Ministry of Testing. They are experimenting with recording today's event. So we shall see what happens with that. A little bit of extra pressure on me to host and to say the right things because it's on camera, so to speak. It's all on tape now. There's no hiding. But we'll see how it goes. I'm sure we can edit stuff. And there's the thing is, we're thinking there's so much good stuff that gets shared during this week in testing that ends up influencing a lot of stuff that we do as a community, whether it's putting out some posts on the club, which is our forum. So club.ministryoftesting.com if you're unfamiliar with that, and also how we coordinate and manage future events, how we help start conversations, can often influence people when they start writing blog posts off the back of this stuff. So if we can find a way to allow people to come back to this, or perhaps pull out some snippets, send useful audio stuff to people, I think that's a good thing. So let's see how it goes. So I've seen a few emoji reactions, so I'm assuming my audio is working fine. I usually do a check at the start. I forgot to do that, but yeah, thank you, Deanna, for the thumbs up. Cool. So what do we got? So a couple of wins from the community. So we have a Ministry of Testing Slack for our professional members and people who contribute to the community. And we often put it out like, how's your week been? What have you been up to? What success have you had? And it was great to see that Javier Flores was sharing that they found their first bug with their new client. So very cool. Lovely feeling when that happens, right? You're new to your client or team and you find your first bug. So congrats, Javier. We also had Christine Pinto. Oh, Christine, who's speaking at Test Bash in September. I think she's got a talk on AI in testing, if I remember correctly. So Christine said, "Finished my PR, which I worked on for over a week, as it's covering a complex end-to-end flow. Waiting for the review from my team." Good stuff there, Christine. Yeah, always a good feeling in that anticipation of getting some feedback from your team. But good stuff, indeed. Some things happening. I noticed there's a lot of stuff we're talking about in the community about how to get started. So whether you think of it in terms of like the essentials of testing, or the foundations of testing, or kind of junior type stuff, people who are new to it. And following on from last week's This Week in Testing, for those of you who joined, myself and AJ Wilson, the brilliant AJ Wilson, we had a really good chat and got some folks up on stage to share their origin stories. So we started a thread on the club, and it's brilliant. There are so many brilliant origin stories. I'm going to read out a few because they are just very cool. Who would I find? I mean, there's so much good stuff on there. We've got people who joined a boot camp. They weren't so sure about what testing was. Yeah, as Mirza says on the thread, I'm seeing a recurring pattern here. A lot of people stumbled upon this career who were in customer support roles before moving into testing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Alexander Romanov sharing that they were at university, and they had to do a database assignment, and they jumped on in, and they were like, "Oh, this doesn't work for me." But how did you find it didn't work? Have you heard about software testing? And they didn't. They had no idea. but they found one book about it and they read it on the Friday, and then they wrote an interview on the Monday of the next week. They passed the interview and then they got the job. I love it. No messing. Um, there's there's so much good stuff. Bob Salmon shares, I was bitten by a radioactive test case. Which I thought was a brilliant origin story there. Thank you, Bob. And Anna shared the latest one. Anna Bomas, who's been part of the community for a while. Anna started out as a librarian, and kind of getting a little bit frustrated with the hours, found a way to becoming a software tester for libraries. So given their domain expertise, they were able to find a way through a random job description that they spotted, and got into testing that way, which is amazing. So yeah, do get yourself on that thread. Please do add your origin story. It is fascinating stuff, and we can't get enough of it. And I think, we are building out. When I say we, Ministry of Testing, we are building out a Foundation Essentials Junior course. We haven't quite got a name for it yet, and these origin stories matter. For people who are new to this craft, it will inspire them. And for folks to realize that we all start from various places, right? And we are a super diverse community, and there's opportunities for everyone to find their place in the world of software testing. So yeah, these origin stories will help form part of that course to help inspire people who are learning and are new to the craft. Great. And more stuff, other posts that we put out that you might want to be interested in jumping in. Again, it was a question that AJ put to the audience last week. What's the most niche thing you've tested? We've got some brilliant responses on that as well. So do check that one out. We've also got another thread going on where you define what a software tester is, and it's brilliant to see how people share their own definitions of what a software tester is. So do go check that out. I also saw a really good post from Cameron Fairburn. They said, if you could tell your past self to care less more about something QA related, what would it be? And that has brought some really good responses, actually. So, yeah, someone talking about quality doesn't pay. Okay, got it. Care more from Phoebe about the user experience, the common actions they take, the knock-on effects outside of one feature I'm testing, and how easy it is to do what they want to do. Brilliant. Care less about the fine details, but only a little. Still dig into weird behavior to find the cause. That knowledge is useful, but don't expect every tiny issue to be fixed. Brilliant. Mahati Dandimhotla, who is speaking next week at our the Testing Planet, the Toolsmith episode 3. Mahati is part of the news team next week, so looking forward to that. Mahati shares, I think I would not worry about certifications. There you go. Thank you for sharing that, Mahati. Wonderful stuff. Yeah, and I also picked up today that Nazneen Ahmad has shared a comprehensive list of software testing techniques. I do see that Lambda Test are putting out a lot of good posts recently. So yeah, if you go on to Lambda Test, again, this is sort of a personal recommendation and not necessarily that of Ministry of Testing, but good on Nazneen Ahmad for sharing that. I think for those who are new to testing, it can feel pretty overwhelming. Like, where do I start? What are these techniques? What do they do? How do they help me? So it's good that people make effort to put this stuff out there. We do also have an essentials collection on ministryoftesting.com. So if you have a look for collections and search for essentials, you will get a whole list of talks and articles from the amazing community that are all related to getting into software testing. So spread the word, for folks who are new to this career, that are on your radar, that perhaps you see them on LinkedIn or pop up elsewhere in the community. Send stuff their way, help them out. Give them an opportunity to get into this community and get into the craft. Also, just for fun, we set up another post about system name acronyms. I can't get enough of them. So far, we've got SABRE, got CAPI, we've got BAPI, VROT, WTF. There's plenty more going on there. If you do want to find out what those mean, then you can head over to the club. What system name acronyms are your favorite? And maybe again, if you want to come up on stage and share some of them a little bit, then you're more than welcome to do so. Talking of collections, we put out a new collection called The Community's Guide to Quality Engineering. That came up the other day, some people asking about that, and we're like, you know what, we've got loads of really good stuff on that. We can put together a collection. So Rosie did that. So yeah, again, check out on ministryoftesting.com, look for collections and The Community's Guide to Quality Engineering. You can find a link to all our collections in the footer of ministryoftesting.com. There really is a treasure trove of items to check out, and it's all from the community. Like there's so much good stuff out there. It's such a huge archive of incredible learning material to dive on into. Talking of quality engineering, I've kind of bounded it under that topic, and it's actually from Ben, who I see is in the audience listening. Hey there, Ben. And I love Ben's quote. Ben said the following: "Building great software is about people, not technology." Changed my mind. And that was a very cool statement. So yeah, going to make sure I keep on promoting that one and put it out there. Absolutely agree with you, Ben. It is about people, not technology. So yeah, maybe want to discuss up on stage in a little bit and get some more folks involved in that. I also see, yeah, kind of related to the quality engineering space, Bob Salmon, and it's great to see Bob Salmon writing again. Big fan of his style of writing, and he kind of stopped writing for a little bit, but has started doing more. And it's talking about how, as an industry, sometimes we can try and take a model or an approach to running an engineering team and apply that to our own company without considering the context of where it's come from. So his example is, big tech such as Facebook. Things that could work in a Facebook context might not necessarily work in a company that you're working at. So it's a good reminder to kind of question these models that become very popular just because of the nature of the brand or the company behind them. So good on Bob for doing that. And so I'll include a link to all of these things that I've shared in our weekly newsletter. So this comes out every Monday morning. You can subscribe via email to at ministryoftesting.com/newsletter. That comes out on Monday around 11 o'clock. And we also post it on ministryoftesting.com. So we have an archive of all of our newsletters. And it's, I guess it's, we call it software testing news. It gathers a lot of the stuff that's been happening in the week. We also post that on LinkedIn. So if you're not following ministryoftesting.com on LinkedIn, go ahead and do that. And then you can start following the newsletter and get access to that each week. It really is a celebration of what the community is up to. There's so much good stuff. I'm looking at my list now, and there is no chance I can go through the whole lot. Well, I could, but then I wouldn't get anyone up on stage, and it'd just be me blurting stuff at you for the next 45 minutes. And I think that's a little bit unfair, and I'm grateful for people in the audience for listening. And I'd love to welcome some people up on stage. So perhaps you could comment on some of the things that I've shared already. Maybe you've had something happen to you this week that you'd like to talk about. Maybe there is something that another community member is doing that you think is really cool that you'd like to come up on stage and talk about and celebrate that person or group of people. So yeah, now's your chance to put your hand up, join the stage, and we get stuck in. So I'm going to go on mute for a little bit. I'll wait for some hands to go up and then we will start. Let us bring Ben Doan up on stage.
Hey,
Ben.
Hey, Simon, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks, Ben. How's your week in testing been?
My week in testing has been busy. It's been a lot of fun. As usual, I've had the most fun when I've had a chance to pair and ensemble with my team, which is always a great thing. And this week I've had in fact, the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've especially had a lot of fun getting stuck in and fixing some bugs as well as finding some bugs and doing that collaboratively with the team, and that's been an awful lot of fun. So that's been pretty cool. And a shout out to our excellent accessibility guild, and especially Fran from Ada, who helped us run a internal accessibility awareness day, or global day of accessibility awareness conference, like mini conference yesterday afternoon, which was blooming excellent.
Oh,
So that was
wonderful. Sounds like a great week, Ben. And yeah, that's very cool to find and both fix bugs. That's a great combo, right? Um, Sometimes in our roles, it's perhaps we don't get that opportunity to work collaboratively to get involved with the fixing. So very cool indeed.
it's a really, I was just reflecting earlier in the week and last week that it's a real privilege that my team support me to be able to jump in and make code changes as well as doing the testing with them. That I've kind of got to that level of trust with them, and I was kind of patting myself on the back, and then I was realizing actually I need to really give my team props, because it's only because they're there to support me to do that and then jump in and review and give me advice that I'm actually able to kind of join in that way. It's not, that doesn't come for free with every team. My team deserve the props for enabling me to actually make that happen. So I really appreciate them for that. I just wanted to pick up on one of those things you mentioned that I'd said earlier about building great software is about people and not technology. And one of the things I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of insight on is this week I've had a little bit of fun attempting, and I think I need to get more controversial, but attempting to post somewhat controversial memes. And often what I've actually been doing twice this week now is effectively posting two different angles on the same topic. So in parallel, posting two memes, one that says one thing and one that says maybe not quite the opposite, but like a different take on the same topic. And one thing that's really interesting, and I don't know whether it's down to the community or down to the LinkedIn algorithms, but one thing that's really interesting is the more controversial and negative my comments, the more views and the more comments that I get, which is a real reflection of the way the platform works, and that's really fascinating.
Indeed, it sounds very familiar. Certainly from the stuff that the Ministry of Testing page puts out there. Yeah, the algorithm, wow, it is drawn towards stuff that's more controversial, that's for sure, particularly on LinkedIn. And I guess we can observe that also in the rest of the social media space. Whether that's a good thing or not, maybe that's a debate for another time. But I think it's brilliant you're doing this, Ben, and I think it's good that we can have these conversations and have these debates. I think sometimes we can all be a little bit worried about having them, or worried about stronger voices shooting people down and all that awful stuff that goes on, that can go on within our community. So I think opening up a debate, and I love the fact you put these memes out there. I saw the other one as well, I just hadn't mentioned it, and it's great. It starts a conversation, and I think if we can, I feel like as a community, if we can have those conversations and then sort of take action from them, and whether that means we have conversations with our team and go, I've got a couple of more perspectives on this thing, like have we considered this? That for me is a real positive. I think it's the slight concern I have sometimes is that we worry about what we share, and of course we don't want to upset people, but we kind of sometimes can get caught up on words and the tiny little minutiae of things that are shared that perhaps isn't of super value. But yeah, it's brilliant to see you're doing that, Ben. So thank you for putting stuff out there.
Yeah, I so far this time round, I've been really keeping an eye on it, but so far everyone has been reasonably respectful, and I've invited the pedantry and I'm embracing it, because when I'm putting out these posts, which are so obviously memes, I'm not really, like, I'm deliberately giving people the platform to bring their pedantry and to give an alternative opinion, and I'm celebrating that. So it's definitely, this is the place for it. Feel free to jump on them. I agree that sometimes when people put forward their point of view like this, but they're being more, I don't know, serious or more passionate about that point of view, and it's more strongly held, then those reactions can be less welcome. So it's about understanding the context of and I think you mentioned this before in a different forum, Simon. It's about understanding how people are invited to respond to the message you're putting out there. So the more controversial one I posted earlier in the week is testing is part of software development to change my mind, and that one got a full 5,000 impressions and a huge amount of reactions and responses. But I really enjoyed reading all of them because people gave some great counterpoints, which I really enjoyed.
Wonderful. Brilliant. I'm loving that, Ben. It's good to have that debate. And talking of debate, we should get Christine. You've been waiting so patiently with your hand up. So let's get Christine up on stage. Ashutosh, I can see that you are there too. Just going to get Christine up, and then Ashutosh, we'll bring you up a little bit after that. Christine, welcome. Welcome to This Week in Testing. Thank you for joining.
Hi, thank you for letting me in. And I had no problem patiently waiting. I was listening to our conversation, was very, very interesting. At the same time, I also cheated a little bit, worked on my Slack messages as well. But yeah, it's amazing to be here.
Wonderful. And yeah, how's your week in testing been?
Oh, my week's been very busy. I was working on new flows for my end-to-end test, and similar to Ben, I didn't fix bugs, but what I was doing is adding locators. As my team, we are very small, and we have to basically whole team approach. Everybody does a lot of things for everybody, and I added my own locators, and I had some problems because I haven't done this in a long time for especially React components, but I had to shout out to one of my team members who took like half an hour to help me to get through this custom element and this custom element, and finally I was able. So I had like, after that half session, my speed up process that on this Friday afternoon, I could put out my PR, and I think I saw a meme earlier on in the Slack channel, like waiting in the Friday afternoon for your PR review. That's what I'm waiting right now. It's kind of funny.
Love it. Very cool indeed. Very cool. And Christine, yeah. So, what else brings you to the stage? Is there something you would like to share as well, kind of beyond what's been happening with your week?
Yeah, I would like to share that I'm I joined more actively now this week our Ministry of Testing Slack community again. I've been offline for quite a while, and I think also only a couple of weeks ago you guys put it more active in. And I'm really enjoying this, especially I've been in a lot of companies where I was most of the time the only automation engineer, only quality assurance engineer, and I love the Ministry of Testing community and being again active in the Slack channel. It's just nice to even just get a thumbs up or like exchanging some silliness or some, what was today, I think, how are we gonna figure out some naming things. And I really encourage everybody to join the Slack community and really like engage with us all, because I love the community. That's why I always love to come back and also speak here today.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful to hear that, Christine. And yeah, absolutely. It is just, yeah, one of the many spaces for us to gather as a community. And it is, yeah, lovely to see, it's got that sense of action, like how can we help each other out? How can we make decisions? How can we move the community forward and support each other? Which is brilliant. It's got a sense of purpose and drive. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Christine. I really appreciate it. And you're excited for your talk at Test Bash. So for those listeners who are unfamiliar, Test Bash is a 2-day conference that Ministry of Testing are hosting. It's in person, it's in Brighton in the UK. And Christine, you have a talk, and the title is, just checking my notes here, Enhancing Test Automation with Playwright and AI, a Journey of Innovation. I wonder if you, I know I'm putting you on the spot here. Sorry about that with no prep, but yeah, if you're able to give a little bit of an insight or some information about it that kind of folks might be interested in.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely more a talk for advanced or intermittent people, not for beginners, because my talk was really focusing how I, especially now after this week, JetGPT 4.0 came out, how I'm using JetGPT, but also Gemini, and I will see if I maybe also put another comparison in it as a assistant, code buddy, but also especially in the small team I have, and like how can I use it to be really helpful? Because I will never be able, and that's good, to replace my team, but sometimes, especially in my team, we have over different time zones, and I had that in a lot of other teams, and sometimes I have a zone where just nobody is there, and I can use ChatGPT for simple things. Like I used to go to Overstackflow to like look for bugs, and now I can just use it with that, and I get very good code like bugging. And I basically was going to show the people how you can use this, how can you leverage this tool to make your work, I guess, more straightforward maybe, or just like a little bit hassle free. I really enjoy having it as a side note, and it just helps me sometimes also easy things. I sometimes, and it's just like me, I'm not sure if you guys have the same, I used a specific function over and over again, and in that moment I just forgot how it's called. Or especially when I switched now from Cypress to Playwright, I forgot how that one function is called. Is to be visible, to be visible. So I'm just putting that thought into ChatGPT, and it just gives me out the right thing. Yes, I could also Google it, but especially with these new AI tools, you learn how you can do this just way more efficient and way quicker. And that's basically what my talk's going to be, show you different examples. I'm still thinking about also do a live coding session, something like this. It will be very exciting. It's my first real talk, for like a big talk. Before I only did online engagement. So it will be interesting to stay on the stage with you guys and get your feedback. And I'm hoping for a lot of woohoos and fun, and hopefully everybody can learn something from it.
Oh my goodness, Christine, it sounds epic. We will definitely. I was kind of like woohooing already on mute. I was like, that sounds really cool, and yeah, it's kind of like bring on September. I don't want to wish the days away, but that sounds very, very cool indeed. So yeah, super grateful that you are part of Test Bash, and people will get to experience your knowledge and experiences. And as far as kind of speaking up on stage in person as a team, and also as a team of ambassadors, we got your back. We're there to look out for anyone who is a contributor to a ministry testing event, whether that's an online one, and in particular with an in-person one, because we do definitely appreciate there's extra pressure and oh my goodness factor to it. But yeah, we got you back. We want to make sure you have a great experience, as well as people who are participating as audience members as well. That's what it's about. So yeah, very much looking forward to that, Christine. And it'd be cool to meet in person as well. I know there's quite a few of us who don't often get the chance to meet up in person, and I think there's something very cool when that happens. So looking forward to it, very much so.
I'm looking forward to this as well, especially meet you guys all. I've been following it for so long, and I think we all had chats over the last years, and finally we see each other, because I've also been away from Europe so long. So, and also big shout out to Diana, who also helped me with like all the processes, with all the configuration. Thank you so much for your patience as well.
The legend that is Deanna, absolutely. Who, for the folks who have spotted, Deanna is up on stage, is purely in recording mode at this stage. So no pressure, Deanna, to unmute and join the conversation. But if you wanna, you're welcome anytime, of course. So we also have Ashutosh. Thank you for waiting patiently, Ashutosh. Let's bring you up on the stage, and let's see where we go from there. Ashutosh, welcome. It's good to see you up on the stage. How has your week in testing been?
Hey, Simon. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity again today. And yeah, it's been great. I have already been talking a lot about Bruno, but I had given it a pause in the last week. There were some data requirements from a couple of customer side from at the place where I'm presently working. So I switched to rest assured again. And I had a very small smoke test, about 10 tests probably, just to test that basic things are there. So I improvised it to having about what, 15, 20 more tests to just create data sets, which was suddenly needed by the team. And yes, talking about Bruno, I think there is a lot of buzz in the community. Again, I think they have already hit 100K users or something per month, which is, I think, great. But funny story is, I have always been, I guess, introduced to new tools because of my company, because they just simply rolled out memo, or how do we say this, that the API community has decided to not use Postman, and because we have sensitive data which we would not prefer going out of country, but even out of maybe Europe. So yeah, we just switched to having all these APIs and secrets and everything in most probably in your local or our own servers. And yes, but yes, switching to rest assured was quite a bit of a thing, and yeah, had to look out for a lot of things after a while, thinking about how to do things in a better way, chaining and using TestNG. Again, it was fun, and yeah, that has.
Oh, Shutosh, I don't know whether your audio dropped out. I
Peak.
missed it. Oh,
Am I
sorry.
audible?
Yeah, your audio dropped out a little bit there. So yeah,
Yeah.
go for it again. The last sort
Sorry.
of 20 seconds or so.
Oh, okay. So the thing is, I am on my phone. I just got a call, so might have been a little disturbance. So yes, I was just saying I am just catching up with the threads on Slack also, and it's really great to interact in Slack 2.0 for Ministry of Testing. Really hyped up for it, I guess. Yeah, that's it from my side.
I mean, what a week for you, Shutosh. You've been doing a lot by the sounds of it. That's a lot going on, which is very cool. And I think yeah, and just as a side thought as well, that was a nice test in production of what happens, the interruption heuristic, which I'm always a big fan of. What happens when you're doing something and something interrupts the thing you're doing? And we just tested it live in production that it cuts out your audio for a LinkedIn live event. So I'm glad we did that.
That reminds me, Simon. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
Orange who?
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana?
Beautiful, Ben. That's a wonderful Friday joke. Brilliant. I wonder if I don't want to go down the route of tester jokes because they can sometimes go in a difficult direction. But they are jokes, I guess. But yeah, maybe we'll start another thread in just for fun, like give us your best tester joke or something like that. Just to keep things light. So I'm going to make a note of that.
I can give you an example of some tester amusement in the wild. I promise it won't take long. I was
go for it.
playing some games with our good friend of the community, Al Goodall, last night. And one of the games we were playing is called Seven Wonders Architect. And one of the things you can do is get this upgrade that's called engineering, which lets you ignore requirements. And I thought that was the best tester upgrade to possibly have. It was great.
That's wonderful.
I know.
Yeah, just ignore the requirements. Just build whatever.
Well, it's like, yeah. It's basically instead of having to have either matching or unmatching material, it's like just use any material and use your engineering power to ignore the fact that you have a particular requirement for matching or unmatching.
I love it. Hey, and as long as I get to use the tooling that I want to use as well, this new framework or this new release of this this language library, then hey, that's great. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, Shutosh, I guess for those who are unfamiliar, I know you have been using Bruno quite a bit. Would you mind giving a brief description? Just curious, because it feels like it is starting to kind of gain traction and folks are excited for it. So yeah, perhaps like just maybe a 30-second or minute overview of what is Bruno and why should people use it?
The best part about it is that you get to keep your collections local. Uh, the second one, which I love, is each and every request is in a format of a folder, and these folders can actually be put into any version control, and the version control can then be easily put into any repository like Git or GitHub or any place, and you can decide on which version or which branch you want to keep as your the branch which you will be using for production, and you can have real-time collaboration with your team members with this. And yes, the second or third most thing I love is each environment is attached to that collection itself. So when you are sending someone a collection, you don't need to send two files, which is, I guess, it's a privilege that I guess was there in Postman. And plus the thing is that Postman has matured a lot, and we were kind of spoiled as testers, I guess, that we were using a lot of features. Uh, what do you say, that for granted. Uh, for example, OAuth is not that matured in Bruno, so you need to put authorizations uh, which has to be like the bearer tokens that you get from your putting in your first auth request. Then you have to capture that bearer in the request headers. Instead, this is already been done as request parameters in Postman. So that is also a great thing. And there is a couple of tools that they have embedded, which is for the paid version. And even though it is a paid version, it is very, very, I would say, economical in the sense that you just pay once for 2 years. I mean, where would you find that you are paying for about $30 and getting it for 2 years or something? I guess that's also a really great thing. That couple of things like which are really good are these tools where you can prettify, you can convert your files in JSON. If you are having JSON validators, you are putting your JSON sensitive data in internet and googling jsonvalidator.com or something like this to validate your regular JSONs that if you have modified something, if is it good enough or not, then these things are there.
Oh, it looks like we just lost a Shutosh. Oh, maybe that was, I'm joking here when I say this, maybe that was someone from Postman interrupted the conversation and decided to take a Shutosh off the call. I am joking when I say that. I wonder what happened. Maybe a Shutosh received another call and it properly interrupted the feed and cut everything out. Crikey. Well, hopefully a Shutosh can join again. Ben, go for it.
But 503, temporarily unavailable.
Yeah, nice. So 503. There we go. And Ben and Christine, have you used Bruno? Yeah, Christine, go for it. Christine, it looks like you're unmuted, but from this side, I can't hear any audio.
I can fill the silence, but as soon as you're available, Christine, please do interrupt me.
Yeah, go for it, Ben.
So yes, I have started using Bruno recently. I can only really echo exactly what Shutosh said, because for very similar reasons of data residency is why we've switched to using it at work. And I completely agree with that assessment that it does warrant a bit of maturity left to go, but I really am very excited by the founder coder one-man band who is now building a small team who's behind this. It's a very cool journey. If you have a chance to look at the Bruno website and really look at the background of it and all that kind of stuff, it's a kind of a cool story. Which I won't tell for him, but I'll just direct you to take a look at it. And I think it's definitely. I personally grabbed a copy of the gold edition, the paid edition, mainly because, as Asutosh was saying about being spoiled with the features in Postman, I've used Postman a lot over the years, and I definitely have never paid for it. And there's obviously a lot of work that goes into making tools like this, so I kind of understand the way that rise and fall has happened, and I really hope if the community's putting their support behind tools like Bruno, not just Bruno itself, but tools like Bruno, we also try and dip into our collective pockets and really support the creators, because otherwise we just manufacture a boom and bust of community tools that are being written as passion projects and then don't get supported, or we're stuck with tools that have to commercialize more intensively. And I think we owe it to the community of tool builders to actually invest in them. And that's not just for Bruno, but Bruno's a great topical example.
I think that's a good point. I hope you can guys hear me now. I haven't used Bruno yet, but it sounds definitely interesting, and I'm going to give it a try. And I think you say the right thing, especially these smaller tools. We have to support them, because especially when it comes out of community, I also don't want to have so much stuff overly commercialized with too many tiers. It's and I also use Postman for a lot of stuff, and I wouldn't have mind to also pay a little bit of money for it as well, because it's awesome. So I will definitely have a look in it. Thanks for the recommendation.
Nice one, Christine. And yeah, I could hear you loud and clear. And Ashutosh, welcome back. What happened? I hope you're okay.
Yeah. I removed my AirPods, and I guess it just removed me from the call also, but I don't know how.
I mean,
So
Ashutosh, like we have done some brilliant, again, another round of interruption testing. What happens when I remove my my specific earpod audio device from the feed? This is great, and I know, of course, you had a not so good experience with it, but we've tested that and know that happens.
Yes, definitely. It's just that I did remove one of them before. It was working fine, but then this time it just happened to disconnect from the phone and also remove me from this LinkedIn live talk. So yes, nevertheless, I would agree with Ben, coming to the topic of Bruno, that yes, I did not pay for Postman ever. But I definitely loved it when I was introduced to Postman. I just loved it. I could play with it in so many ways, which uh, empowered me to test API and made me understand how to test API, a little bit of security side even. And yes, that's amazing. But coming again to this Bruno topic, uh, that's really great, Ben, that you've bought one. And I actually met with this guy who, obviously virtually, he's from the Silicon Valley of India, I would say, Bangalore. It's his new name, I guess. So yes, this chap left his job just the starting of this year to work full time on Bruno. So you can see that it's not even six months that someone is working full time on this tool, but definitely this is amazing that few things which I guess everybody needs is there, that people are able to see it. One more thing that I would definitely love is that there is a switch option that you can switch between the presentation layer or the UI, like we see in Postman, and you have a button that you start seeing your posts, your requests as code. And I think that is really empowering, that you can actually edit anything in the code, and you'll see the UI representation getting changed. And the same is vice versa true. Uh, this also I liked a lot about Bruno. And when I met with the person, I specifically asked him a couple of things which were very basic, not working for Windows specifically. And he was I would say, uh, feedback ready, that he definitely asked me to mail him what exactly the issue is, and I gave him the steps to reproduce, and they fixed it in the next release or something. So yes, uh, great work going on there, definitely. But yes, on this topic I would end by saying that yes, it needs a lot of maturity. I was heavily using Postman flows for data creation. So last, I would say, 1 week was for me was quite hectic that my teams needed a lot of data sets to do few new features testing, and we were not able to do that because we were not allowed to use the Postman flows where I had set up it before. And it took me a good amount of time, 1 week, to just set up these things. And even though it was set up yesterday, I started.
Oh, shoot off. It sounds like we might have just lost your audio for a bit there. Oh, you're back.
And
Please go
again,
ahead.
I got a call, so apologies. I would now shut up and uh, let others take the stage.
It's
Thanks.
all good, Ashutosh. No, thank you for sharing. It's brilliant. And I think it's, you make a good point about Postman. That company, and again, this is just an observation from myself and what they've done for the testing community and to level up the entire community when it comes to thinking about the importance of API testing and what it means for end users and just the experience that people have with their applications that rely on APIs. I think Postman has made huge grounds on helping and supporting the community. So it's really feels like it's lifted up the knowledge base of the community by offering a tool that is very accessible, that is open to a lot of people. And I know things have changed for them in their business model, which is fair enough, of course. Yet as far as like lifting up the community's knowledge around API testing, kind of absolutely commend them for doing so. And I know they've got a good community going on as well. Danny Dainton, who is a tester and a Postman advocate, running a very good community over there. Super helpful and kind person. So yeah, if you're not following Danny Dainton, then I recommend you do. Lots of advice and recommendations when it comes to API testing. That's for sure.
I met Daniel in the last test bash. He's amazing, no doubt. One should follow him for more. And the Postman swag is no doubt really good if you go to their workshops or anything in test bash. And since we're talking about tools, I would add that the Toolsmith is coming up, and I was planning on recording 4 minutes video for Bruno. So I hope I do that this weekend.
Oh, that's great, Ashutosh. Yeah. So for listeners who are unfamiliar, so every month we run a half-day event online called the Testing Planet. And the next episode is episode 3, the Toolsmith, as Ashutosh had alluded to. And at this stage, I think the deadline is next Tuesday. If you would like to record you using a tool, kind of talking about some of the features, some of the things you like about it, we should be in a position to edit those videos and get them into that event. So it's next Thursday. Starts at 2:00 UK time in the afternoon. There's a bit of a rundown on that. We have the Testing Planet news. So earlier this week, I had a really good chat with Andrea Jensen, Mahati Dandim-Hotler, and Parveen Khan. And yeah, we looked at a number of polls that Ministry of Testing have put out to the community. So things like, how do you prefer to learn how to use new software testing tools? As a testing profession, how obsessed are we with tools? Are you satisfied with the tools that are available to you today? And how do you discover new tools to help with your testing? And we took all the poll information, we shared our analysis of what we thought of the results, and also pulled in some commentary from the community. There's lots of comments being shared, and it's fascinating insights. So it's really cool to chat with Andrea, Mahati, and Parveen. They had lots of good stuff to share. So that opens up the event. And then we got a couple of talks, one from Kat Obring, The Hobbit's Guide to Testing Tools, Small Steps to a Powerful Choice. And also Jason Huggins is doing a talk, Testing Real Devices in the Real World. We then have a fireside chat to round off the event, a cosmic conversation on how to select the right tool. And we got 2 awesome people for that. We've got Nate Boscher, who is the founder of Testing Taxi, and we've got Marie Cruz, who's a developer advocate for K6, I believe. So they are really in the zone when it comes to building and supporting tools. So we thought, let's get those folks in, and they can give a perspective from them as developer testers, and also from like tool vendor side of things as well. So that should be absolutely fascinating. So yeah, do go sign up. You can find the event on the events page, which is ministryoftesting.com/events. You'll see a whole load of stuff. I saw that Rosie Sherry, Ministry of Testing's CEO and co-founder, was posting in the Ministry of Testing Slack, I think it was earlier today actually, just a screenshot of all the events we've got going on at the moment. And there's loads. It's absolutely brilliant. We're very privileged to have a brilliant community across the globe who are organizing meetups. So we've got one in Manila, Manchester next week, Edinburgh, Belgium, Athens, Newcastle. There's another Newcastle one went live recently, plus Coventry, York. It's all happening. Sheffield as well. So if you are local to those cities or you can get to them, please do. These are all in-person events. The in-person meetups are back. Absolutely. And it's great to get people together in that way. We also offer other events. So like we're doing right now, this week in testing, we also have the Test Exchange, which is a good way to gather the community on a video call to help share our skills and knowledge with each other, and then see if we can offer help, perhaps help people find another job, that kind of thing. And we've recently launched Office Hours, which is a weekly online space for all our professional members to gather. So we offer that via the new Ministry of Testing Slack, which professional members and unlimited members can get access to, and also contributors to the community. So that happens every Wednesday at 2:00. You can ask the Ministry of Testing team. We jump on that call. We are there to help answer your questions. And also, if you're stuck with a testing problem, other folks in the community will be there, and they will see if it's possible to help you with your questions. So yeah, lots of stuff going on. So do keep an eye on the events page, eye and ear on the events page. There's always stuff going on. It's exciting. It's full on, but it is exciting. That's great. So just doing a quick time check. We have got about 5 minutes to go before we wrap up today. I wonder if we can maybe finish on a light one. So last week we asked the question, what's the most niche thing that you've tested? I wonder, Christine or Ben if you'd be willing to, as you're on stage, to share something niche that you have tested, that you'd be okay to share, respecting privacy and all of that stuff.
Oh, that's a difficult one. Niche. I think one of my first startups, the thing I had to test there was not so niche, but the real product. We worked with high heels, and I had to test the high heels I forgot what it was. So it was actually a real test because we just got a new shoe model in, and I actually had to test it out, how comfortable it was. That was fun. But that was manual testing, real testing, really.
Yeah. I mean, what sort of criteria did you have when you were testing heels? Like, did you have scripts, or was it exploratory where you had a bit of a goal?
It was completely exploratory because it was just like, I think we wanted to see if that was a startup with a lot of amazing. There was a very short time that's a job, but it was amazing to every day go through that storage unit with all his high heels. Like, I loved that one. And it was just I think a new new brand seller. I think we got in, and just all of the women in the company came along and had to try them on and see mainly durability, because it wasn't really clear if they hold so long, and also how we like them on different shoe models. That was very fun. That was a fun afternoon we had.
That's awesome. I love it. How to test high heels. That sounds like the start of a blog post. Very cool. I see that Piotr has put their hand up. So Piotr, yeah, let's get you up on stage. I wonder if you've got something niche that you've tested that you'd like to share with the audience. Peter, how you doing?
Hey, Simon.
Welcome. It's good to see you back at This Week in Testing. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's always fun to listen to you guys all. And yeah, a little niche. I've got an opportunity to test 2 small mobile operating systems that probably almost none of us in the chat and your friends used. Maybe you've read in the news a few years ago that Mozilla was working on Firefox OS. there was few devices sold even. Yeah, I was part of the team testing Firefox OS and few of devices. And also in the meantime, while I was working at Samsung, I was working with Tizen OS. Also, right now mostly using cars and fridges, refrigerators, but yeah, back then we were releasing few smaller devices, few phones.
Wow, that's absolutely fascinating. I love it. That feels super niche.
So I've got one. So I was once testing. So the overall product that I was testing, I don't think qualifies as niche because it was at Citrix. It was a virtualization platform, and like the overall, it was very widely used in the industry. But the bit I was testing, especially for this particular feature, was effectively there were two different ways that this Zen desktop software could provision machines, and the bit I was testing was the less popular of those two. And within that, we then released an additional app disks feature, which really we were delivering more than anything else just to check a box because we had a competitor that I think we bought and then it didn't matter. So this particular feature was a feature on part of the less popular part of the software, and then by the time we got it to market, I don't think we needed it anymore. So I'm not entirely sure if anyone ever used the thing, but it was a lot of work on something that may or may not have really got any actual use in production. But it was really complicated.
I always feel for apps and services that don't end up getting used by kind of like an end user, or I always think like, we're such a waste. But I also think, well, perhaps as an engineering team, we learn a lot through that process, even if we didn't get it in the hands or the eyes or ears of our end users. I wonder if it'd be a fascinating study to get some statistical significance to see how many apps that people have tested that actually didn't make it to production, and then compare that with those that did. I wonder what the ratio would be. I think that would be fascinating, geeky stuff, which I very much enjoy. But folks, thank you so much for sharing and for joining us today. It looks like I'm just about to be booted out of the meeting room that I'm in right now, so I should wrap things up. We are coming to the end of the hour. But yeah, thank you once again, everyone, for joining This Week in Testing. A real privilege to host this, and very grateful for those of you who have jumped on stage today. Wonderful. And to you, the listener, very grateful for your time. If you've got any thoughts, comments about these, feel free to find us in the various different places across the community. I would recommend just head on over to ministryoftesting.com/newsletter, subscribe to the newsletter, and you'll get a summary of a number of the things that get discussed during This Week in Testing, plus a lot more. And yeah, join us for another one. We aim to do this at the same time every Friday. Otherwise, do find a way to join the community and get stuck in. It's always good to hear from you and to get you into part of the conversation. Okay, folks. Well, thank you so much. Take care for the rest of your day and have a lovely weekend. Bye for now.